deep, and he's got Rod Smith. And Smith's gone.
As a quarterback, John Elway loved hooking up with his go-to receiver, Rod Smith. Call it touchdown. Super Bowl 33. Victims of financial fraud depend on this guy, Gerald Rome, as their quarterback. He's head of the Colorado Division of Securities. But it sure looks like Rome is fumbling the search for justice.
Fumble the ball, and Denver has recovered. Oh, my.
Meet Sean Michael Muller. He sure sounded like a guy who could make you a bunch of money. Hope you didn't trust him. He's Colorado's Bernie Madoff. He scammed fraud victims for, get this, about $120 million. That's not chump change. Mr. Muller wasn't afraid to scam anyone. His victims included John Elway, the Denver legend. The famed former quarterback lost millions of his own NFL pension.
Is we investigate investment fraud. So we go after the Bernie Madoffs of the world. And when I say that, everyone knows what I'm talking about.
Gerald Rome helped prosecute Mr. Muller. A Colorado court ordered him to pay $74 million in restitution back to his victims, like the famed quarterback from Colorado. And this guy, Randy Lewis, is a lawyer hired to get the money back. So far, he's gotten $11 million of the $74 million Mueller owed back. That's less than 15% of the money stolen, if you're keeping track. But to get back that $11 million, you know how much Lewis has charged Colorado fraud victims? About $5 million. That's $1 for every two he's gotten back. Sadly, the Mueller case is the latest evidence Jerry Rome and the Division of Securities shouldn't be going around bragging about all their success, because there's mounting evidence they don't spend any time worrying about whether the victims are ever getting their money back. Dolce Vino Consulting has spoken to several Colorado fraud victims owed money from these fraud cases, no matter how much they lost, and we're talking sometimes millions. We keep hearing the checks they get in return are almost too small to even bother cashing. How about $6?
I probably will be dead before it all comes back. Well, I will be long dead before it all comes back. At $6.22 every 3 months.
We always laugh about the check because it's so ridiculous. Ridiculously small that they might as well not bother printing it.
Michael Brian Cass and his buddy Bella Gexy used the coffee company for their own Ponzi scheme. The Division of Securities ordered them to pay $11.4 million back in restitution. This guy, John Smiley, was appointed receiver in that case, and his firm billed nearly $500,000 for all the work they did. You know how much they got back for the victims? Not one single penny. The only money victims got was $67,000, but that wasn't paid by the receiver's office. It was paid from the crook's own payments in prison. Another famed Colorado crook, Perry Sawano, scammed his fellow Coloradans out of $6.1 million. The receiver, a guy named Andrew Snyder, and he billed fraud victims $334,000 for his services, and he recovered $307,000. So the guy who actually got the most money back wasn't a victim of the fraud at all. He was a lawyer. It's no wonder Gerald Rome doesn't really want you to know the whole truth and why he's been fighting to keep us from getting records for months, and why we had to sue him in the state of Colorado. Actually, I think Mr. Rome owes me a nice thank you, because now he can't say that he didn't know that in many of these cases, the guys that are getting most of the money aren't the fraud victims. They're the lawyers.